Okay, this is the data that we got from the Excel workshop. Now, I'm actually going to show you something. I'm going to be actually setting this up. I want you guys to actually see a couple things. Number one, first, in order to clean this up a little bit, I think I'm going to delete the timestamp. We don't need it, so we should do that. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to actually expand these guys just a little bit, so you can see them a little bit. They take up more of the page. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to actually calculate a couple things. Number one, we want to actually calculate percent composition of the sunflower seeds. We want to know how much of it is. We want to know how much of it is sunflower. We want to know how much of it is flaxseed. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to actually show you something. I actually wasn't going to show you guys this, but then I started thinking about it. I thought it might be a good idea. This is the weight of 100 flax seeds. So I'm going to scroll this down. I want you to see something. Okay, 34, 30, 31, 7. That looks a little odd. Okay, that seems something we'll probably want to take another look at. All right, 33, 3.3, 7. 3.4, 3.4, 2.9. All of these are within. And then you get this one, 10.3. That seems off. Okay, and this one here next to it, this is the weight of 100 sunflower seeds, 110.2. It looks like there was an error made here. These are what are called outliers. So what we're going to do is we're not going to delete the rest of the numbers. We're just going to delete those two. All right, because clearly that's some sort of outlier. Or actually, you know what? We're going to leave that in there. Edit. Undo clear. I'm going to leave that in there for now, but we're going to do something with that. Now, this, again, I'm thinking the people did something. They may have had some the wrong button clicked or something like that when I look at these, because these numbers just look different from everybody else's. Okay? All right, so we're going to take a look at these. All right, now, the first thing I want to do is I want to figure out the average number of sunflower seeds in a 25 milliliter sample. Now, I'm going to round all of this stuff off to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to click on these two columns. I'm going to format the cells, and I'm just going to run off, and under the number, I'm just going to round them off to one whole number. Okay, because we're not going to pretend that there's half a sunflower seed. All right, so the first thing we need to go insert, and we're going to put in, a function. So what we're going to do is going to go equals. Now, I'm actually typing formulas in because it actually makes life a little easier for you guys. That way you don't have to find the button if you're using a different version. Average, A-V-E-R-A-G-E, open parenthesis, and then I'm just going to click, and I'm going to drag down all these guys. Boom. So let's see what we got. After I drag this down, and then I hit, or I actually close parenthesis. Boom, and that should give me the average. So the average number of sunflower seeds in the sample is 156. Let's take a look through all the different data points and see how that looks. That actually looks pretty close to what the average is. Although you'll notice that there's one person here who seems to have a data that doesn't look quite right. Okay, 15 clearly is wrong. So the question is what happened there, all right? And we need to find out from those guys what they did, because clearly they didn't have 15 sunflower seeds in a 25 milliliter sample, all right? I'm going to actually delete that because I think that indicates something wrong with the data. Okay, so I'm going to delete that whole set of data. The individuals who did that probably need to take a look at it, consider redoing it. All right. So what happens? Well, now all of a sudden the samples become 159. It becomes a little bit different. All right. This guy here, that looks a little off, but not quite at the same function. Okay, it's not off by a order of magnitude. So we're just going to drag all these averages across like this. Boom. All right. So that's what we got here. All right. So we got 159 sunflower seeds, 168 flax seeds. And again, if you take a look, the numbers vary. All right. But for the most part, it looks like it's pretty much in that general vicinity. So that looks pretty good. All right. The weight of the sample, let's take the weight of the sample. It says the weight of the sample is 16. That's another one that looks a little odd. And let's go down and boom, we find that somebody said that the sample weighed 242. I do not believe that that is correct. Okay, that's what's called an outlier. You notice all the other numbers, they're all okay, they're within an order of magnitude. That one is clearly wrong. So I'm going to also delete that one. All right. because it's clearly something screwed up with that data. All right, and then you need, if we were actually doing this in a research paper, you'd have to go back and look and see what happened. All right, so now you take a look at it. Now you get 11, and that actually seems right in the middle of all the other numbers, so that seems more correct. All right, and then the weight of the sunflower seeds, again, now somebody had, how did this average out at 8 grams? Okay, for 100 sunflower seeds. Well, let's go down, and as you scroll down, sure enough, somebody says the sunflower seeds weigh 110.2 grams. Well, that's clearly wrong as well. That's an outlier. We're going to get rid of that data because that data is clearly screwing up the rest of the data. This person here, 23. They have sunflower seeds 23, flax seeds weigh 23. Clearly those data points are wrong, and we need to talk to those people, see if we can figure out what they did. This one here where it says they weigh 7, that one also seems wrong, but it's not an outlier. It's not off by that much. Okay, this one here that says 10, we're going to leave that one there, even though it seems a little bit off. All right, and you notice, though, by taking those things out, now the weight of the sunflower seeds comes down around 4. Actually, I do think I am going to remove that data, because that data just clearly is 3 times what everybody else got. So I'm thinking they made a mistake. All right, and they also made a mistake on the other measurement, and that now brings it to around 4. So it kind of looks like this is fairly close to being reasonably correct. I do have questions about this one here. I do have questions about these here. I think these are off. All right, but anyway, so we now say the sunflower seeds weigh 4 grams. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to do a little calculations with this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, what is the actual percent of this? Okay, what is the actual percent of this? So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to drag these guys over a little bit. I'm going to make them the names a little small. You guys are going to use the names later. Okay, but I'm just going to drag these guys over, and I'm going to say, okay, well, in order to calculate the percent of this by number, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, well, first thing I have to calculate is what is the total number of seeds. Whoops, total number seeds. And the total number of seeds is going to equal this number plus this number. Boom. All right, so we have the average, and I think I'm going to actually label average over here. And then I'm actually going to, insert another row, and this is going to be percent. Okay, so let's take a look. We're going to actually, all right, and the percent is going to be equals this divided by this number, enter. Okay, and clearly I made a boo-boo. It equals that's the average, and this equals B3 divided by, oh, and I know what happened. I made a boo-boo. Okay, because what I did was, all right, what I did was very dumb. What I needed to do here is I'm going to type in equals this number divided by this number. And it gives you a percentage, but the problem with this is doing a decimal. So what we need to do is we need to actually, these guys, we need to go back to number, and we need to go to percentage-wise, say okay, and boom. The problem was it was rounding off. So now all I have to do is, if you look at your toolbar, it'll give you a percent. There's a percent symbol. You just click on the percent symbol, and it'll turn into percent. Now, since I want to do a relative drag fill, I'm going to put in the $sign. and I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm just going to drag and I'm going to divide these two things together, and that's going to tell me what percent of sunflower seeds are in a 25 milliliter thing, what percentage of flax seeds are in a 25 milliliter thing. So that's actually pretty cool. That gives you a really good idea of what we're dealing with right now. Is by percentage, it's pretty much 50-50, 50% flax seeds, 50% sunflower seeds. All right, so that's what we got here in this mix. In the next thing, we're going to do a little thing. We're going to be calculating percent by weight, and that's kind of a cool trick that we're going to be doing in a minute.